Good day, everyone. So for this session, we are going to tackle about the marginal utility and utility maximization as part of the consideration of for the consumer's choice. Okay? So when we say utility, no, this is the state of having a satisfying power of a good or service. So it's more on the feeling of being satisfied for a good, no, or service. So here, utility is subjective. So meaning we cannot quantify it. So it's based on our personal judgment. Because when we feel satisfaction, it is based no on our personal judgment. It is subjective. So this is why utility is very difficult to quantify or to measure in a quantity manner. So here in utility analysis, no, utility can be used as a tool, no, to analyze purchase decision. So when your consumers or when a consumer will purchase or decide to purchase a good or service, utility analysis can be a good tool, no, to make choice, no, when it comes to purchasing. So the purpose of utility analysis is to analyze how people behave rather than how they think. So it's more on subjective, it's more on the behavior of the consumers. So take note that in our theory of consumer choice, each consumer spends his or her income in a way that yields the greatest satisfaction, meaning that the consumer will spend his or her income to satisfy his or her need, no? Given that limited financial resources. So remember from our previous topic about the indifference curve. So the higher the curve, no, the farther the curve, the better or the highest the satisfaction. Okay? So we really want to spend for something that maximizes our satisfaction. So that is why we have this utility analysis. And when we say utility, this refers to the amount of satisfaction. So total utility and marginal utility. So there are different, no? Because when we say total utility, this is more on the total benefit, like the overall benefit to a consumer from all the units of a good purchased. So it's more on the total. And when we say marginal utility, this refers to the benefit from the last unit of a good purchase, like from the additional unit. So here, this is the change, no? The marginal utility is the change in total utility from the purchase of one more unit of the good. So now let's proceed with the calculation. So given this given, and also we have here the graph. So given this total and marginal utility, so we have here the chocolate consumption, the total utility, and we have to find the marginal utility or utils here. Okay? So first thing to do is to plot the total utility. So we have here first 0 chocolate consumption, no? And the total utility is 0 because you consume nothing, right? So I hope you can see this one. So I'm going to adjust here. Okay. So I hope you can see this one, 0. So a one consumption of chocolate, you will obtain 10 utility. So here. Okay? So, from here to here. Then, 2 additional units of chocolate, like you consume na 2, you have 18 total utility. So, you have it here. And additional 1, so we have 3. You consume already 3 chocolates. So, your utility is, magiging total utility is 24. So, here. Okay. Then for the 4 chocolates, so you have 28. So let's put it here. 4. So we have it here. Then connect the dots here. Then for 5 chocolate consumption, so you have 30. So here you have it here, 30. Okay? So, for the 6 units of chocolate, you have again 30. The total utility here remains the same. From 5 consumption of chocolate. Then, now you consume 7, you go back with the 28 here. 7 chocolates, your total utility is 28. So, you have it here. So what have you noticed here? Beyond 6, the total utility decreases. The 6 here is your saturation point. So meaning this is the highest point, The highest point, of your total utility. Okay? So that is the saturation point. Now, we have to calculate the marginal utility here. So, how can we get the marginal utility? So, take note that marginal utility here, marginal utility or we have here MU. MU is equivalent to a change of total utility with respect to the change of quantity. So our TU here is we have the total utility. Our quantity here is the chocolate consumption, right? So, or change TU new or 2 minus TU 1 divided by Q2 minus Q1. Okay? So now let's find the marginal utility between the 10 and 0. So what if there is an additional 1 unit of chocolate consumption here? So how much is the MU here? So you have here showing the solution. You have here 10, the MU. So you have 10 minus 0 divided by 1 minus 0. So you have 10, 10 divided by 1. So your marginal utility there is 10. Okay? So how about here? Additional 1 unit. So you have here 2. So ilan yung nadagdagan? So 18 minus 10, we have 8, right? So divided by 1, so you have here 8. Okay? So dito, how much is the marginal utility here? Between 24 and 18. So there is additional 1 unit here, right? So ilan yung nadagdagan? So 24 minus 18. So you have here 6, right? That is your marginal utility. So another here, 28 and 24. So ilan ba yung, there is additional 1, no? Ilan ba yung nadagdag? So from 24 to 28, ilan ba yung nadagdag? So 4, 'di ba? So 4. How about here? No, for the fifth consumption, so meron tayong additional 1 unit. So of course, pag additional 1 unit, diretso na 'yan i-divide to 1, 'di ba? So pwede mo na lang i-subtract, no, yung total utility mo kung additional 1 unit lang naman. So we have here 30 minus 28, we have 2, right? No? So that is our marginal utility here. Additional 1 unit na naman. So 30 minus 30, you have 0. No, 0. And here, 7. Additional 1 unit. No, 6 plus 1, you have 7 here. So ilan ba yung nadagdag? Hindi siya nadagdag. Nabawasan, no? Kasi lumait. No? Lumiit yung total utility niya. So 28 minus 30, you have negative 2. So if we are going to plot this one, so we start here by 1 unit. So we have here 10. Dito 10. 'Di ba? Then here we have 8 sa second na unit of chocolate. Then we have here 6, no? Sa third unit. Then we have it 4, no? Sa fourth unit. Then we have it 2 sa fifth unit. Then 0 for the sixth unit. Then negative 2 for the seventh unit. Now, if you are going to connect these dots, this is now your marginal utility. So, where is the saturation point here? Of course, this is the saturation point. No, ito na yung saturation point. Mu is equivalent to 0. Dito na nag-i-exist, no, yung law of marginal utility. So as the number of unit increases, the total utility increases, right? But beyond, no? But beyond saturation point, the marginal utility became 0, leading to it will become negative. Magiging negative siya. So as you can see here, as the quantity increases and as the total utility also increases here, the marginal utility decreases. We have here law of diminishing. So meaning diminishing, bumaba, no? So we have here the law of diminishing marginal utility. So kapag sinabi natin law of diminishing marginal utility, yung satisfaction is nag-decline, no? As a consumer acquires additional units of the product. So additional units of a good or service are worth less and less to a consumer in a monetary terms. So here, we can say that the law of diminishing marginal utility happens, that as the quantity increases, the marginal utility decreases. Okay, like additional units of a good service, additional Q, it will cause the marginal utility to diminish. Okay? Okay, now let's proceed with the utility maximization. So we have here the utility maximizing rule. So here, you buy the quantity of each good at which price and marginal utility are exactly equal. So that is how you can maximize your purchase. So the consumer's money income should be allocated so that the last dollar spent on each product yields the same amount of extra marginal utility. So in order to get this utility maximizing rule, you have this formula. So you have to make sure here in utility maximizing rule, you have to make sure that the marginal utility of your product is equivalent to your price of that product. Okay? So take note of that. We have here the problem, I want to buy orange and apples, and the price of orange here is 5 pesos, as you can see. Now we have here 5 pesos. Then, on the other hand, the price of the apple is 10 pesos. So, given this number of oranges, if I'm going to buy in the market, 0 orange means 0 utility, the same with the apple. But if I buy one quantity of orange, I have 20 utility. 2 oranges, I have 30, and so on. So, the same with the apple, as the quantity of apples increases, the utility also increases. So now let's calculate the marginal utility. Take note that in getting the marginal utility, you have this formula. Like the total utility, this is the change of the total utility divided the change of the quantity, or U2 minus U1. Quantity 2 divided by the quantity 2 minus quantity 1. So let's find out how much is the total utility here. Okay? So we have here 20 minus 0. So 20 minus 0 divided by, so I'm going to zoom this out so that it is clear for you guys. Here, 1 minus 0. So you have here 20 divided by 1. So your marginal utility here is magkano? 20, right? So here, how about on this portion? Additional 1 unit of orange. So you have 30 minus 20 with respect to 2 minus 1. So you have here 10 divided by 1. So your marginal utility here is 10, right? Another, we have here 35 minus 30 divided by 3 minus 2. So you have here 5, 3 minus 2. You have here 1, so 5. So take note that the price of orange is 5 pesos. And given this mga marginal utility, we have 20, 10, and 5. Okay? So take note, yung maximizing rule natin is dapat equal yung marginal utility at saka yung price. So, alin kaya dito yung maximizing rule? Like ilang orange? Given na ganito yung price, what do you think? So, 'di ba sa 5? Kasi yung 5 na marginal utility is equivalent siya sa price. Take note ha, MU should be equals to price. This is the maximizing rule. Okay? Yan yung maximizing rule. So, you have to choose 3 oranges. Okay? 3 oranges. You have to buy 3 oranges. This is where you can maximize. So, now let's proceed with the apples. So, here we are going to calculate the marginal utility, the same with the process on how we get the marginal utility for orange. Here, we have 30 minus 0 divided by 1 minus 0. So you have here 30 divided by 1. So your marginal utility here is 30. Another, so you have here 50 minus 30 divided by 2 minus 1. So you have here 20 divided by 1. So your marginal utility here is how much? What do you think? So 20 divided by 1, no? At 2 apples, you have a marginal utility of 20. So next, how about here? For additional 1 unit of apple in 3, no? 3 quantities. So you, the same rule. So you have here 60 minus 50 divided by 3 minus 2. So you have here 10 divided by 1. So your marginal utility here is 10. So take note that the price of apple here is 10. So what do you think is the maximizing rule here? Now, given this marginal utility, at what units of or how much apples should we buy to maximize our choice? So of course, sa 10, no? Kasi ito yung equal sa presyo ng apple. So we have to choose, no, at quantity 3. Okay? So we have to choose that one. So now this time, we have this as our final answer, right? We have this as our final answer. So 5 here for the orange, no? And 10 for the apple. So given this one, 5 divided by 5 pesos is equivalent to 10 divided by 10 pesos here. So you have 1 here, no? Equal sila. Yung marginal utility with respect to the price of the oranges and also the apple kay equal. So therefore, no, we will maximize our utility, no, at 3 quantities of orange and apples. So kapag ang bibilhin nyo is if you are going to buy apples or oranges in the market and ganito yung data ng marginal utility nyo, so you have to buy 3 quantities of oranges and apples in order to maximize your satisfaction. So the lesson here is as purchasers or as consumers, we really need to assess, no, or and also to maximize our satisfaction para sulit yung pagbili natin. So we tend to make choice, no, in our daily life given our unlimited wants and limited mga resources, di ba? So, given those things, we really need to make a choice. And we have to make sure that this choice is a good choice and that can satisfy ourselves. Okay? So, I hope that you will apply, no, this utility maximization when making decisions, and even not just only when buying goods or when purchase goods, but also in making decisions for your life. Okay? Para walang regrets in the end. So that ends with the topic about the utility, particularly the marginal utility and utility maximization.